is, but you persevere. The key point I think I want to make is that perseverance is as important after you graduate as it is while leading up to graduation, while you're in school. That perseverance, when you get out, you need to keep that. Don't let that walk out on you. Don't let it out of your pocket. Keep that perseverance, because whether it's your job, your family, or other things, you're going to need that. You have that in your pocket today, and you need to hold on to that. It's really important. So when I was talking to the students, one of the things that they brought up, I asked them a question. The question was, so, if you looked at your first project when you got to the Art Institute, when it was done, and then you fast forward to your last project, do you see a difference? And they laughed at me. They're like, are you kidding? It was like night and day. Like, seriously. And I think that speaks to, the essence of perseverance, that some things don't change overnight, but they will change the more you persevere, and over a long period of time. Again, shavings will make a pile. And so what I want to show you is that is part of Bronto too. Here is our non-award-winning website back in 2002. This was our website. So, you guys are artistic. We've got graphic and web designers in the house, You look at this website is crap, right? But this is where we started. I mean, my business partner drew the logo in Word. Right? But what happens? You persevere, you iterate, you learn, you make mistakes, you keep going. You guys know these things, because that's what you guys have been doing while you've been at the Art Institute. But you got to keep at it. You got to keep moving and persevere, because over a long period of time, this is what it turns into. And as Chris mentioned, we're #1 in our space, and we have iterated time and time again. And you see it. I'm sure you guys see it when you look at your first one versus your last project. So, just to throw out a quote, great works are performed not by strength, but by perseverance. And that's a really good quote, and I think it's something that you guys know, but don't forget it. All right? So that's lesson #1. Lesson #2 is live your values. So values is something that's very important at Bronto. The first few years, it really honestly didn't matter, because until you get up to a sustainable level, you need to just run, and activity is all that really matters. But, as you start to get to a point where you're a sustainable business, or you get to a point where you are in your career, you really need to start reflecting, doing self-reflection to figure out, who are you? Like, values are who you are, not who you want to be. And, at Bronto, something that we've learned to be very important is that we just rally around 3. Being transparent, being approachable, and being passionate. And those are values that map back to my business partner, Joe, and myself. And honestly, it doesn't really matter what the values are. Each of us is unique and different. We have different values. But I really encourage you guys to think about, what are the just couple values that matter the most to you? Hold on to those and find ways that you can live those every day. At Bronto, we really do try to live those. It was about 9 years ago when we kind of did this kind of self-reflection, and we came out with our mission and our values and our purpose. And a lot of people, they tack them up on the up in the break room, and it's sort of a joke, right? And it's sort of this thing, they check the box, you got to do it. Not the case with us, because these were our values. And the same thing can apply to you, whether you're starting your own business or you're just going out in your career. And we live these. So every person we interview, we are qualifying against these values. We're finding ways, such as transparency. One of the ways we do it is we have a very open office environment. And what Joe and I personally do is we have a cube just like everyone else. And it makes it very transparent in terms of the organization. That instills trust. That's important to us. Second, approachability, right? Technology. A lot of you guys are into technology. We are into it as well. But you always want to wrap a human element around the technology. You know, one of our early customers, quirky guy, his name's Dan. He lives out in California. Lives in the basement with his mom. He's about 55. A little bit weird, but hey, Dan was a loyal customer. And in the feedback to Bronto, he said the best thing about Bronto is it's humans. For us, that's important, that approachability and how we build that into our user interface. For you guys who are interested in design, we're thinking about that in terms of how we interact with our customers. You know, live chat where you can see a photo of the person who's chatting with you. Those things matter. Passion matters. You know, certainly you can be good, but you can't be great unless you're following your passions. The good thing is that at the Art Institute, you're generally here because you are following a passion. That's a great thing. So I just want to reinforce values. Live your values, figure out what those handful are, hold on to and find little ways you can do that, because that will pay dividends whether you're working on your own or you guys are actually working as part of an organization. All right? See, we're 2/3 of the way there. All right, last one is embrace growth and culture. So I have personally interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, and when they ask that tough question, so if you sum up Bronto, you know, how do you describe it? For us, it's 2 words: growth, culture. Those are the 2 things that are most important to us. Growth in that we're committed to high growth. Certainly that happens from like a revenue standpoint, from hiring employees, but more so it's just this concept that we are always on the move. We have ideas, and there's a sense of always pushing yourself, pushing the organization. And so that theme of growth goes all the way through the organization. You get the downside of ambiguity, some stress. You know, we're always trying to find that intersection point between high growth and graceful growth. But growth is very important. You guys know it, right? You've been growing and developing yourself as part of this program. But as graduates, I challenge you to never stop. And I can tell you firsthand, you know, when we shook hands over that Guinness back in 2002 and went to the surplus store and got some desks, we committed ourselves to a career of growth because we had no other choice. There's no backstop, no nothing. So I encourage you guys really to commit yourself to growth beyond graduation. It will pay huge dividends. Second point is culture. And culture is a very important concept. I'm actually going to tell that through the story of Tim. So Tim, well, actually, before I go into culture, right? So, a couple things. Yes, this is a fat head. Yes, this is a fat head of Tim. This is a fat head of Tim in our office. Did Tim choose to have this fat head put up in the office? No. Tim won this at the holiday party. But Tim is a great story of growth and culture. And I'll kind of segue into the culture piece. Tim was a couple of years out from where you guys are today. He had already had one job. He comes to us. I could tell in the interview process Tim was going to be a Bronto because, you know, there's just certain people, you know that. We hire him into this role called a lead qualification role. Sort of like checking out prospects and opportunities to see if there's any business that we can do together. And Tim comes in, you know, works pretty hard. He's not knocking it out of the park day 1, or really, you know, month 3. But he's working hard. He's engaged into our culture. You know, like when I say culture, you know, he's embracing these values. He's demonstrating it. He's building a network, informal network within the organization. It speaks to approachability. He's very honest about what he's good at and he's not. It speaks to our transparency. He's certainly actively involved in our community events, things like that. But Tim is working hard and he's committed to growing himself. And so, you know, we're about 6 months in and Tim asked, hey, I want to get an interview for a sales role there. And we're like, it's too early. You're not even at the top of your team. But, you know, Tim was pleasantly persistent, as they say, and just kept hounding us. And we finally gave him an interview. He came in a suit and tie. We did this role play demo. He knocked it out of the park. And we promoted him. And we promoted him. He went into a sales role. First year did pretty well. Next year, he was actually the #1 rep in the country. In the company. And he was doing amazing. And actually the year after that, we decided we're going to open an office in London. Who did we ask? We asked Tim. Tim's been there 4 years. He's now coming back with his fiance, and he's going to open an office in New York for us. Talk about a great experience, you know? And these things, you know, they don't get handed to you. You know, he had no idea that these things were going to happen. There's no way to know. We didn't even know that we're going to open an office. But he committed himself to growth and to embracing our culture and to magnifying it. And over a period of time, talk about going in at the lowest position, working his way up where he's going to be head of a brand new office in New York. And so you guys have, you guys know how to grow yourselves because you've been forced to do that. So now is your time to actually go out there and to really commit yourself to growth, embrace culture, whatever that might mean for you, and to take that going forward. I mean, it's going to be a journey for you guys, but I'm so excited. With that, I'm just going to do what they do in school, right, and summarize. So, all right, everyone with me? We connected? Then we're good. As you leave here, and this inflection point in your life, 3 takeaways from me, Chaz. And if you see me around the campus, say hello, all right? Perseverance pays off, right? Live your values and embrace growth and culture. I'm telling you, you're going to have a good ride. And who knows, it's your ride. I've had a good ride. It has ups and downs every day. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a rich experience. And this is an exciting period for you guys. So thank you very much for having me today. And go out and have fun, all right?